Today I want to talk to you about something that's really a problem, or it can be a problem if you don't watch it, is moths and rugs. And this is an example of a rug that really got eaten away. In fact, one of the things that when you think about moth damage, you really think, oh, it's just some little spots, maybe little areas. But the realities of it is, if you have a rug that really gets infested, it can do just like this. These are holes that were literally caused by moths eating through the rug. You can see how it ate all the way through the warps and broke them. And what happens, there's a couple things about moths you need to know. Not all moths are going to cause wool damage. Some are just fine. The ones that are problematic are very small, and I'm showing you an image compared to a penny, and you can see how small these are. And they have very fine wings. They fly very flutterily across the room, and it's not something that's big. So if you see a big moth, don't be worried about it. It's these small little moths that are the problems. What they like is dark rooms. So if you have a dark and warm room, would even be better. And against a wall is a problem. So I've gone into homes. I've seen a rug that looks beautiful. We flip it over. They've never flipped it over. It's been like that for 20 years. And what do you see? Moth damage everywhere because they get behind it. It's very comfortable and they eat away at the pieces. They don't really realize it until maybe it completely goes through. So always check your weavings at least every 6 months. And it's not a bad idea just to turn them just so they don't get exposed, and also for the light. Now, things you want to look for when you look at for moth damage. One, you'll see a little white cocoon. That's the larvae. You'll also see when it's starting to eat through, you can see where the warps will show. And if you look closely at the wool itself, what you'll see is the color will change. So let's say it was a bright color underneath and it's faded a little bit, because usually there is a little fading in the wool. And you'll be able to see where that area where the wool is very bright, that means that it's had some moth damage. We call this moth grazing, and some of that can be very difficult to fix. So if you're buying a rug that has a lot of moth grazing or damage on it, this grazing can be problematic if you go to get it fixed. It takes a lot of money to fix all the little warps that are involved. So the other thing is, if you have a lot of moth damage and you want to get it clean, often it can just kind of fall apart, the whole rug, when it's clean. So you have to be very careful when you're looking at a rug. When you're going to buy it, if it has moth damage, you want to make sure it's just to limited areas and it can be fixed. The other thing about moths damage, or moths, if you get them in your weaving, is you'll want to put them in a freezer. This is how I do it. Now, you can do it however you want. I highly recommend that you stay away from naphthalene and mothballs. I don't think it's good for the wool. I think you can stain the wool with the naphthalene. It's basically a poison. Who wants to touch that or have that on their skin? I think a better way, and the way we do it, is we take our weavings, every weaving that comes in, and we freeze it. We'll freeze it for 48 to 72 hours. We take it out, let it warm up, and then freeze it again. What this does, if there were any larvae in there or any little eggs, it might cause the eggs to hatch because of the freezing and cause the moths to come out. So it's important. I do the 2-method freezing. When you do freeze the rug, you just want to kind of boil it up in a little ball. You don't need to make it really nice and flat or like a towel, because you want to have lots of air pockets so you get really cold freezing to that weaving. And of course, you don't want it exposed inside the freezer. You'll put it inside a plastic bag. Or if you live in Michigan or one of these areas up in the northern area, Colorado, you can actually just put it out in your backyard in a bag. Just make sure somebody didn't take the bag, and then you don't have your rug. Moth damage. Very important to look at weavings closely before you ever buy one. If it has moth issues, you need to review this tape. We need your support for the Medicine Man Gallery channel, so make sure to click the subscribe button and tap the little bell icon to be notified when we upload a new video, which we do every morning on Wednesday and Friday. See you soon.